happening, people? It's your girl Mina. Welcome back to the channel. You already know what it is. Listen, big up to everyone locked in on this Saturday evening, afternoon. I don't know what you want to call it, but big up to everyone. As always, you know what it is. Be sure to hit the like button and be sure to subscribe if you are new here. Big up to Saeed with the raid, man. That's my guy. That's bro right there. Premier League football. There's been some Bundesliga football. There's been a lot of football today. A lot of goals. I don't know if United is going to get us goals tomorrow, but we're going to talk about that. It's a Spurs preview for this one. We're going to talk about ANGE versus Erik ten Hag. For me, this is a must-win game, and I want to hear what everybody has to say as well in the comment section. So listen, make sure you lot get involved in the chat. But before we actually get to that, pin comment in the chat. I am nominated for a football content award. I'm nominated in the best new content creator category. So all you have to do is go over there, type it, click on the best new content creator, and then vote Mina Ibrahim. You can vote apparently multiple times. That's what I'm hearing. So make sure you lot go and vote as well. And if you're there, vote for United View at the same time. They're nominated for best club content. I've had a busy week, guys. I've actually not had the chance to stream, so I do apologize, guys. I really do apologize. I ain't really had the time to stream in the last couple of days, but I'm back with the consistency. FC25 launch on Thursday. FC25 launch. Eric Cantona was in the building. Half of Chelsea squad was in the building. Jadon Sancho, João Felix, Cole Palmer, etc. What else? I did a video with Sky Sports. I got cooked for some of my opinions, but each to their own. And then today I went to watch Chelsea versus Brighton, which was actually a very, very good game. And then I happened to meet Cole Palmer after the game. I don't know, man, guys. Cole Palmer is, when we talk about best players in the Premier League, I don't know why his name don't come up in conversation that often. Like, of course, we hear, Haaland, Mohamed Salah, we hear Bukayo Saka, but I guess it's because last year was his first serious season at Top Flight Football. Big up to Rance with the raid as well, man. Shout out to my bro Rance as well, man. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Make sure you lot vote for Rance as well in the Football Content Creator Award, guys. Make sure you lot vote for him. You spoke to Palmer. Yeah, he so I went with so Nike invited me because I do stuff with Nike just in football and all of that kind of stuff. And I was sat with his parents like the whole day, and I didn't realize it was his parents because we were talking about football, about life, everything, but they never said who they were. Really nice family. And then he came up to see his family and his parents, and then he came with his match ball. But that free kick, serious free kick. That's serious free kick, man. Big up to Rance with the raid. Big up to Saeed with the raid as well. Palmer, super cool, brother. Listen, well, I don't know, man. I feel like when we're talking football, when we talk about Premier League, we got to talk about Palmer. We got to talk about Palmer when we're talking about the top players in the league. Did he say what to you? Yeah, he did. He said what to me. I got a picture. If you don't follow me on Instagram, listen, my Instagram's right here. It's the same. Oh shit, my Instagram is the same as all of my socials. So you could go see some content from today's game. That was a serious free kick. But can I just say, right, just because United played Brighton a couple of weeks ago, Chelsea utilized that high line seriously. Like when I'm looking at the way United played and the way that Chelsea played, completely different. Completely different, man. Big up to Rance for the raid, man. I appreciate it. Make sure you lot vote for him as well in the content awards. Big up Adam in the chat. Should we talk about the Chelsea game before we actually get onto the United game, or should we talk about all the games this weekend thus far? The Liverpool game, I saw that they just about clinched it. They just about clinched the win. Obviously, I saw City drop points. Is this, guys, just on City, is this what life without Rodri is going to look like for the foreseeable future for them? Because I watched the first half of the game and a bit of the second half up until Newcastle equalized. And I'm just thinking, is this what life is going to be like for City without Rodri? And by the way, without Kevin De Bruyne. Like, we're talking about them missing Rodri, but it's not just Rodri they're missing KDB. Liverpool today, I think I watched the first half of the game. They looked okay. And Arsenal just about clinching the win. Like, I don't know how that game went from Arsenal winning to 2-2, and then I think it was Trossard scored last minute. Life without Rodri and De Bruyne looks mad. It looks serious. Serious. But big up to everyone. Be sure to hit the like button if you've just come through, and be sure to subscribe if you're new here. Listen, it's the road to 10k, man. We're trying to get to 10k out here. A lot of you lot coming through from the rants raid, man. Big up, big up, big up. Make sure you lot stop by. Make sure you lot hit the like button. Make sure you guys subscribe as well, because we're going to talk about United versus Spurs tomorrow, and I'm scared. Guys, I'm a bit scared. That's lazy analysis, Mina. Rodri wouldn't have helped them score. You know, this narrative that Rodri wouldn't help City score, but he's scored and assisted some big moments for them. Like, I agree, it is lazy narrative that I'm running when I'm saying, oh, you know, that is this life without Rodri where they're not scoring goals. But I think he is an anchor in not just, you know, that midfield, but also getting the ball forward, getting the ball going, keeping the ball ticking. I think that's very important. I'm not saying he's like a KDB or an Odegaard where he's getting up to, you know, 10, 15 assists, but life without Rodri, Pep is moving mad, by the way, in the press conferences, the things that he's saying before games. It sounds like he's scared. But let's get onto it. Let's quickly get onto it, because, boy, we got a bit to talk about with this game tomorrow, because for one, I'm shook. But I'm not shook, but I'm nervous. Do you know why I'm nervous, guys? Because Chelsea won today, Arsenal won today, Liverpool won today, City dropped points. Okay, cool. But tomorrow is like Super Sunday, yeah? The last game of the day, everybody's watching that. Everybody is watching Super Sunday, right? So all eyes are on United. All eyes are on United, especially coming off of the performance midweek and last week against Crystal Palace. I'm very nervous. Big up to Brian, says, big up Minna Talks, Minerals in chat. Big up, Brian. Thank you for the super chat. New El Sacico Derby. I actually was reading an article, yeah, that was basically comparing tomorrow as a kind of the battle of the managers that are fighting to keep their jobs and fighting to stay in their role. And a lot of pundits seem to think that ANGE is a lot more safer than Ten Hag. A lot of pundits think that ANGE is a lot more safer in his role than Erik Ten Hag. And the reason why I'm saying big game, like the thumbnail says, right, big game, because this is the beginning of a stupid run of games for Manchester United. Like, there's ridiculous runs in the next couple of weeks. Man United got Villa, they got Porto, they got Fenerbahce. And this is why I said September was the month for Erik Ten Hag to really figure out what it is that he wants to do and what it is he's trying to build with Manchester United. Because you look at that front line, yeah? Against FC20, let's be honest, guys. Erik Ten Hag got the substitutions wrong. He got the substitutions wrong, and he got the substitutions wrong against Crystal Palace. This kind of game, in a way that, in a game like against Spurs, where you know how Spurs are going to step up, you know how Spurs are going to play, you know defensively how they're going to have a much more higher line. Erik Ten Hag needs to learn how to exploit teams that play with a high line. Brighton do it, Villa do it, Spurs do it. And funnily enough, these are 3 teams. 1, we've already played, and 2, we are about to play, right? We're playing Spurs this week, Villa next week. These are teams that are playing high lines, that have managers who can make tactical impacts during the games with their substitutions. Erik Ten Hag, for me, is not, like, I don't have faith that, unfortunately, he's going to go and do that, right? I don't have faith that if Ange makes a change, say in the 45th minute or the 50th minute, tactically, that changes the way that Spurs are shaped. I don't think Erik Ten Hag will do something to counter that. And it's unfortunate, because I remember he did it in his first season against Graham Potter at Stamford Bridge, if you lot remember. Within 30 minutes, I think it was, Graham Potter made a change to kind of switch up the game. And Erik Ten Hag countered that. But now I've realized the manager, Erik Ten Hag, is a manager of comfort. I feel like when he's comfortable with something, he will kind of persist with it. And that is why we're seeing Eriksen play. Like, I know for a fact there's over 400 of you lot in the chat, right? There's over 400. I know that you lot all agree that Christian Eriksen should not be the deepest lying midfielder. But because it's worked in other games in the last couple of weeks, Erik Ten Hag has persisted with it. And what happened? FC20 slapped United in the face with that mistake from Eriksen. And you know what? It's okay. Like, for Christian Eriksen, we've seen that happen before, right? We've seen that happen before with Christian Eriksen. We saw it at Brentford for a second game under Erik Ten Hag. It doesn't take a genius to figure out that he should not be there. Ugarte has taken a bit of time to adapt, right? And it's funny because the manager has said that Ugarte is not ready yet to play. Like, he needs to adapt to the Premier League. he needs to, from what I'm seeing, he needs to adapt to Europe as well. he needs to adapt, because that FC20 game would, to me, I can only be so critical of him because I know he hasn't had a consistent run of football, right? I don't expect him to hit the ground running straight away, unfortunately. But I was a bit concerned about his performance. Big up to Act as a new member. Welcome to the community, man. If you want to join the membership club, you can. It's not the pinned comment in the chat, but it is in the bio of the video. If you want to join, you can. You get your badges, you get your emojis, you get your custom member content, and of course, you get to support the growth, the ever-growing channel. We've got over 400 people in here. Big up to Saeed and Rance with the raid. So make sure you lot subscribe if you are new here. It's the road to 10K. If you want to support the channel in alternative ways, you can by sending in super chats with your comments, with your questions, with your thoughts, or just doing something simple, which is liking the video for the algorithm, as well as subscribing. Great point, Minna. The Eriksen card in midfield has no longevity. Ten Hag is ridiculous for going back to that. And I hope he doesn't do that again for Spurs. I hope he does not do that again against Spurs. But let's talk about Bruno Fernandes. Let's actually talk about Bruno Fernandes. And I'm actually going to bring up some stats right here, because I mentioned him very briefly in the post-match video that I did after the FC20 game. But I really think Bruno he's struggling this season. Bruno Fernandes is struggling, probably the worst that I've seen him struggle. And the way that I do see it, right? I watched Cole Palmer today, yeah, playing in the 10. Ridiculous. I watched I watched Bayer Leverkusen versus Bayern Munich game. Jamal Musiala, Florian Wirtz. So many good 10s in the world. And for me, Erik ten Hag needs to figure it out with Bruno Fernandes. And when I say figure it out, I'm not necessarily meaning, I don't necessarily mean he needs to make it work, but he needs to figure out what it is that Bruno is doing to overcomplicate his game, and he needs to simplify it. Because I feel like a good manager or a good coaching staff will identify a player, overcomplicating stuff, and teach them how to simplify their football. And Bruno Fernandes is a testament to that, in my opinion, because listen to these stats, guys. When I saw this the other day, I could not believe it. Less than 50% long ball accuracy in the league thus far. Less than 50%. This is for a player that has a lot of touches on the ball. Dispossessed over 7 times. And there was one stat that stood out to me that I was just like, whoa. I said, this does not look good, because we speak about the press, right? When people talk about Bruno Fernandes, they talk about his ability to press, how he leads the press with Xerxes, etc. He's only won possession in the final third across 5 games 3 times. So I think, to me, sometimes that's a meaningless press. That's a meaningless press that you're doing sometimes. When it comes to shots, and by the way, this is the worst of his stats since he's joined Manchester United. He's had a 17% shot accuracy on goal. No goals, if I'm right. No goals this season in the Premier League, but 17% of his shots have been on target. And you probably hear that and think, right, okay, 17%. Right, okay, that's 3 out of 17. That is what the actual figure is. It's 3 out of 17. When I saw that, I thought, whoa, why do you persist on shooting if clearly you are ice cold in front of goal, right? And this is why I say the coaching staff and just, the camp around Erik ten Hag. This is not solely on Erik ten Hag, but it is as well. I think it's on all of them collectively. They need to get Bruno to simplify his game. That is, for me, what the biggest issue is his game. He overcomplicates it. And I know, guys, I could take you back to last season. I think was it Brentford when he done that nonsense in the 90th minute, and I think was it Wolves? I can't remember. They nearly equalized. But FC20, free kick, edge of the box, or just about outside of the box. You got your whole team up. Yeah, you got set piece guys on the pitch. You got aerial winners, and you go for goal. This is what I mean. He needs to simplify his football. And if he's not getting the instructions from the coaching staff, he's going to continue to run around and waltz around the pitch and do whatever he wants. He will do whatever he wants. Fernandes is finished. We let Sancho go and brought Ugarte, Ineos out. Damn. Damn, B, tell us how you really feel, bro. He needs to adapt and play discipline from now on, 100%. And you know what? I say this all the time. I think there's things that you cannot teach in football, and discipline is one of them. You cannot teach someone to be disciplined. You know what it is, guys? This is a silly comparison, yeah. But any of you lot play pro clubs on FC 25? I'm sure you got a friend, yeah, that just shoots from anywhere. They shoot from anywhere in pro clubs. Wherever they get the ball, they'll shoot. You can try tell them as much as possible, stop shooting, but they'll keep doing it because it's in them. And I think that after a certain point in football, you cannot coach something into someone. It's the same way when I talk about Onana, I say that some of Onana's errors cannot be coached. Like, he can't be coached out of it, because at that age, you're kind of solid in your ways. And I said this, I think it was about not last season, the season before. So Erik Ten Hag's first season, towards the end of it, when we were talking about this new potential ownership at the time coming in, and we were talking about Qatar, we were talking about Ineos, we were talking about Sir Jim Ratcliffe, etc. And I remember I said this on stream, on UV. I said that if Bruno does not change the way he plays, if Bruno does not change the way he plays, Ineos or whoever comes in might look to bin him. I was wrong, because they didn't bin him, but the point still stands on that he needs to change the way that he plays. He has to change the way he plays. Tomorrow, I think there's pressure on United altogether. I think there's pressure on Erik Ten Hag to get a result. But importantly as well, I think there is pressure. All eyes is on Bruno Fernandes. All eyes are on Bruno Fernandes, because also, when we talk about Bruno and other 10s in the leagues, when we talk about the Odegaard's not here right now, KDB is not here right now. So all eyes on creative midfielders in the top 6: Palmer, Maddison, Bruno Fernandes. For me, all attention is on them. All attention. Let me see what you lot are saying. Mike says Bruno is one of the senior players in the squad, and he doesn't possess the IQ to know when to pass, when to shoot. We are in trouble, sadly. Let me ask you guys a question just on Bruno. Do you think his contract extension has set United back? Because today, I was having conversations with my friends today after the Chelsea game. Some of them United fans, they were saying we need to buy Palmer. But honestly speaking, guys, will United be able to go out and buy a 10 next season or the season after? Given the fact that they've bumped up Bruno's contract, yeah, he's on what, I think it's like 325 now, or around 325, 350. He's got an extra couple years on him, on his contract. Man United might have set themselves back a little bit when it comes to buying a 10, in the future. And maybe Bruno could look to shift down. He could look to shift down to the 8 role. But then who's going to be United's 10? I'm not gonna lie. I want to see a game of Joshua Zexi in the 10. It wasn't an extension, it was increased wages on the same contract. No, oh my bad. I thought it was 1 year extra. I thought he got his. Let me double check. Because I thought he got an extra year on his. So he signed with a further year. So he signed until 2027 with a further option to 2028 if Manchester United choose to pick it up. I feel like the system Ten Hag wants to play has more of a creative 8 than a true 10. I mean, then why? For me, Man United need a 10. United need a true 10. They need, and also they don't need someone who is, for me, literally a 10. I think they just need someone that knows when to pass the ball and knows when to find the right runner. That's it. It's not as complicated as we're making it seem. I honestly do not think it's as complicated as we make it seem. We could have sold Bruno for 60 to buy Elise. Elise Ahmad can play 10-2 as well as Maino. We don't need Bruno. I hear that, man. I hear that. Think of the wages saved with Casemiro, Eriksen, Maguire, Lindelof gone. It's possible next summer. I don't think it's going to be possible next summer. I also don't think it's going to be a priority for Ineos. You know, I think there's other positions that might be a bigger priority for Ineos. It'll be interesting to see next summer. Let me quickly see what you guys are saying. Zaxi's magic is being a 9 that drops deep. Him as a 10 won't be as potent. How about then? And this is just why don't United play 4-4-2? Why don't Man United play 4-4-2, the traditional 4-4-2, But instead of having two strikers, you've got one that's playing as a second striker who essentially drops into the 10. And this is what I've suggested this a few times. I've said that I would like to see Manchester United play that, even if it's Kobe and Ugarte sitting, if it's a right winger in Ahmad and Rashford or Garnacho, whoever on the left, and then Højlund and Xerxes, and essentially having Xerxes dropping into the 10. Now, I'm also conflicted because I think, would Erik ten Hag drop his captain? But then on the flip side, that was the first thing he did when he came in. He dropped Maguire. That was the first thing he did. So I know Erik ten Hag is definitely capable of dropping someone who has the captain armband. I know for sure. We have no 6-4-4-2 won't work. I feel. What if it? That's what I'm saying. Having two sitting midfielders, not necessarily sitting. By the way, guys, just on midfielders, yeah. Belieber, I think his name, Carlos Belieber, for Brighton today. I was standing and applauding him. I thought 20 years old, yeah? 20 years old. Ridiculous. If anybody watched the Chelsea game, please tell me you saw Belieber's performance for Brighton. It was actually ridiculous. We don't have the midfielders to play 4-4-2 apart from Kobe. The rest of our midfielders are crap. How do we have this much midfielders on our team and you're telling me we can't play 4-4-2? Like, damn, you're a believer. Yeah, I think his name's spelled Baleba, something like that. But the first 10 minutes, I said, who's this number 20? I was like, who is this number 20? I went and looked at him up. I said, oh, this guy, he's the real deal. He is the real deal. He was so good. He was so good. Bruno ain't getting dropped after the new contract, and Ten Hag was the one who made him captain, so he ain't dropping him. Let's move on from Bruno talk. Let's move on from Bruno talk and talk about these two here. Let's talk about these two here. Because I am a little bit worried about Lisandro Martinez. Now, maybe I'm being a little bit reactionary. I could be being reactionary. But I do think sometimes over the last couple games, and my sample size is quite small, but over the last couple games, I do feel like Lisandro Martinez has one or two things that he does in a game that might just change the trajectory of the result. Now, again, Lisandro Martinez, I think he's our best defender on the ball, our best centre-back on the ball. He's so good on the ball. Getting forward, he's so good with the ball, progressing it. But there's sometimes he steps out a bit erratically and it just leaves De Ligt or whoever's the centre-back with a lot of space to cover. And that worries me. I saw it so many times. I saw it against Liverpool. I felt like at Liverpool, he was doing it to cover for Casemiro because he was stepping out to try to make sure Casemiro wasn't alone. But it scared me. I saw it again midweek. Saw it against Palace. I also saw it. He does this thing where he's quite erratic. You know what they say? You can take the man out of Argentina, but you can't take Argentina out the man. And that's what, someone compared him to Marcus Rojo. And I think from a footballing perspective, it's way off. But from the decisions they make, it's not that far off. It's not that far off. And I actually said this. I was having this debate the other day with Flex and them. And I was saying, Lisandro Martinez cannot be the leader out of the two centre-backs, if you know what I mean. I think he's a good centre-back. And I think he's got leadership. Like, he's got passion. He's got all of that. But when it comes to the IQ and the coolness of the game, he has to have the person next to him being that. I see it in De Ligt. We saw it in Varane. For me, he cannot be the one that is the brains behind the back line, if that makes sense. And I think tomorrow is going to be an interesting battle. It's going to be a very interesting battle, not just between De Ligt and Martinez and like Solanke, but even in the manner in which they cover the gaps between the fullback and the centre back, etc. Because if Brennan Johnson starts on the right, Dalot's gonna have a performance. He's gonna have to have a performance. Mazraoui against Son, I think this is another tough matchup for Mazraoui. I think against Luis Diaz, that was difficult for him. This one is going to be even more difficult. But I think because I'm not worried because he's got De Ligt next to him. My worry is on the other side of the pitch. That's where probably my biggest worry is. It's good to have those traits in your team, but it can be risky. It can be definitely risky sometimes. Isn't Son injured? Is Son out injured? Did I take him out my FPL? I hope I did. Minna, let's just keep it 100. Are you ever going to put Martinez in the same category as Van Dijk, Saliba, Gabriel, Rudiger, Militao? He's nowhere near that level. No, I wouldn't at the moment, if I'm being honest. I had this debate on the Sky Sports video that I was on the other day. We were making a starting 11 of world footballers in Europe right now, based on just this season. And I said it was for me, I put Van Dijk and Gabriel as my centre-back pairing. I couldn't put Leach in that debate. If it was Rudiger, if it was Militao, if it was Saliba, etc. You got me on that one. Short centre back in the Prem is tough. I don't think it's the height that's the issue, though, guys. I do not think that it's the height that's the issue. I just think it's his decision making sometimes that worries me. No Saliba. It was based on the guys. It was based on the last 5 games. Literally, it was based on the last 5. And it was a toss up for me between Gabriel and Saliba. I was like, they're both so good, but I said the first couple of games of the season for me is Gabriel that kind of went into it. Is he actually out injured? Because I'm getting conflicting reports. Son versus Man. Let me see if he's actually out injured. Okay, so he is injured, but I think he might be still available for selection. He might still be available for selection. Yeah, he said that he's injured, but he hasn't completely said. He hasn't said nothing about it. He hasn't said nothing about whether he's going to be out. So he said he's going to make a decision before the game. I think Martinez would be better than Ugarte at DM. Are you guys already fed up of Ugarte? I have never seen, I haven't seen anyone say anything about Ugarte so far that's positive. I haven't seen anything positive. Obviously, after the FC20 game, I feel like there wasn't really much positive. I don't think it was so difficult for me to do my 5 things in 5 minutes because everything I was saying was negative or borderline negative. But are you lot already? Is fans already fed up or not sold on the idea of Ugarte? I don't think he's good on the ball. I said this already, and I'm going to take it back a couple months ago before we signed Ugarte when there was talk about Zubimendi, and I got cooked for saying I'd rather have Zubimendi than Ugarte. Ugarte's job is purely to just destroy. He's a home wrecker. That's all his job is. He's not good on the ball. I know that. I don't need to watch 10 games of him, but also I think Man United can still do with a player like him. If you've got Kobe who's good on the ball and you've got Ugarte whose sole job was to sit deep, that's it. You will probably see more of Ugarte's abilities or capabilities highlighted. Now you can go on and say, well, look at João Neves. João Neves at PSG is doing a different role to what Ugarte is meant to do. And maybe it depends on how Erik ten Hag deploys him. For me, maybe it's about how Erik ten Hag chooses to deploy him. Writing a player off after 3 games is bollocks. I agree. I don't think we've seen enough. But the thing is, I think Erik ten Hag wants a player to be able to do everything. Personally, I think he wants Ugarte to be good on the ball and a destroyer, but Ugarte is clearly just one. And maybe that's why Erik ten Hag was not keen on the idea. I mean, if it was up to Erik ten Hag, Man United would have kept Scott McTominay, and he actually scored the other day. When was it? Yesterday, he scored for Napoli. For me, Manchester United have lacked and probably still have a lack of someone that can dictate the game from the middle of the park. Ugarte's job tomorrow, I think, will be to sit in front of the front line comfortably. Now, if I see Ugarte transitioning into places more further up the pitch, that's when that kind of confirms to me that Erik ten Hag wants him to be able to do everything. And same with Kobbie Mainoo. Like, Kobbie should not be the deepest, like the same way I think Eriksen should not be the deepest line midfielder. I don't think Kobbie should be the deepest line midfielder either. I don't think that. I think it should be Ugarte, and I think Kobbie should have that more advanced role out of the 2 midfielders. I said that the midfield right now needs someone to control and dictate more than anything. I agree. If you're crap on the ball, you have to be an elite destroyer, but Ugarte is just a good destroyer, not elite. Fair enough. He's saying he's just good. And he's nothing outside of just being good. Just being good. Ten Hag misprofiles all our players. I don't think it's Ten Hag misprofiling. Personally, I don't think it. I think he's just he wants too much in his system from people that don't have the capabilities to do that. And that's why I always say your system, it does two things. It either highlights someone's abilities or it highlights their inabilities. And in this kind of situation or these kind of situations, I think his system is highlighting the inabilities that people have, because I do think sometimes this, I don't know, man, it might be controversial, but I do think Erik Ten Hag does have his system is a bit, I don't want to say too much, but it's a bit overcomplicated. When you require so many different types of profiles to do certain roles, and the roles are very rigid, it's like you're trying to fit, what's that saying? You're trying to fit round pegs in square holes. Like that to me that's how I see it. That is how I see it. I feel like the system that Erik Ten Hag wants and the players that he has, they don't match up. They don't match up. And this is a perfect example for me. Yeah, Amad Diallo is a very good player, but Erik Ten Hag, he wasn't Erik Ten Hag's type of player that on the right hand side. Erik Ten Hag wanted someone like Antony. He was more happy with a player like Antony and Antony's type of profile. That is just an example. I actually think if Amad did not score that goal against Liverpool, it might have been different for him at United. Square pegs and round holes. My bad. You know, I stay making up sayings here. I think Kobe would be a good 6 in a double pivot behind a 10, but that's not really how Erik Ten Hag plays. Rashford or Garnacho, I feel like would exploit the space on counter with Tottenham's highline. Listen, I watched Chelsea versus Brighton today, guys. All Chelsea did, I was so shocked, by the way, because from a goal kick, Sanchez's goal kick, yeah, the entire Brighton team was in Chelsea's half. The entire, except for the goalkeeper, everyone was in Chelsea's half. And all they kept doing was balls over the top. Nicholas Jackson, Madueke, Jadon Sancho running in behind, caught offside quite a few times, had some goals disallowed because of offside, but Maresca showed a perfect example on how to exploit a high line. Some of the goals, I think, Palmer's goals, individual brilliance, we could say, but equally saying that to get into the positions and the runs that he was making was ridiculous. And then I go back a couple of weeks and I compare that to Manchester United's approach against Brighton. And I'm like, come on, a lot of the time, teams like Brighton, teams like Spurs, teams like Villa, who give you their playbook before they even come into we know how they're going to play, right? United should look tomorrow against Spurs to play balls over the top. Call that counter-attack, call it whatever you want, I don't care. For me, exploit the high line. And you have runners in behind. We act like Amad Diallo is not fast. Amad Diallo is quick. He's quick. Let me see you lot. Chelsea's back four looking spooky. Listen, Brighton looked like they just didn't want to defend, and Chelsea just looked like they can't defend. That's it. But yeah, Chelsea they'll probably go out and buy some centre backs soon. But tomorrow, who would you lot start who would you lot start on the wings? Right hand side, left hand side. You got Rashford to pick from. You got Garnacho to pick from. You got Amad to pick from. You got Antony to pick from. You got Bruno to pick from because Erik Ten Hag wants to play Bruno on the right hand side. He did it over against FC20. I think it's Rashford Garnacho or Rashford Amad. Simple as that. I will be very shocked if Erik Ten Hag drops Rashford or he doesn't start. Now, the only way I see him not starting is that there's this rumor about Rashford having bad influences outside of his life. I don't care about that shit, bro. If you come and you play and you perform, you can do whatever the hell you want outside of football. But Given Rashford, I think what saves Rashford gets him into these starting lineups is his record against teams top sixes. I think that's what gets him in. Now, I also think it has to be someone who's going to track back and defend. It has to be that, because we also know Udogie, Pedro Porro, etc. I know that Spurs' fullbacks get forward. We know that. Do you know how much space you're going to have when they are literally so, like, it's going to be ridiculous. It's going to be ridiculous. Now, Xerxes is an interesting one. Joshua Zirkzee is an interesting one, because I really like Joshua Zirkzee, but I saw how non-existent he was against Liverpool. Van Dijk and Konate had nothing to do, bro. Van Dijk and Konate should have just sat down on the pitch, because Zirkzee did nothing against them. And I feel like when Man United's under Eric Ten Hag, when Man United tactically approached the game different against the big teams, I feel like it could nullify the involvement of our striker. And I'm worried that that might happen with Joshua Zirkzee. I think Van de Ven and Romero, yeah, Højlund is still kind of getting into match readiness. He's still kind of getting into the match readiness. But equally saying that, a part of me wants to see both of them. Like, I'm not being funny, guys, but a part of me wants to see both of them. I just don't want to see Joshua Zirkzee as the lone nine with nothing to do. With absolutely nothing to do. Put Ahmad in the 10, Zirkzee in the middle, Rashford right wing, Garnacho left wing. I don't want to see Bruno. When you give expressive influence to your players instead of drilling instructions, you get what we saw with Chelsea today offensively. Ancelotti spoke about this once, right? Ancelotti spoke about Real Madrid and how does he get players to play. And he said, you know what Ancelotti said in a press conference once? He said that he leaves players to figure it out on the pitch, because they are capable. Like he said tactically, he gives instructions, he gives advice, he gives tips, but he gets players to basically try to figure out, okay, what should I do in the game? Because the reason why he said that, he said footballers are more than capable than doing that. He said football players, especially at that level, at Real Madrid's level, they are capable of being problem solvers. And he said that when you drill kind of instructions, similar to what 2K Universe says, if you drill instructions into them all the time, you take away the freedom of their creativity. So you have to find the balance of creativity, freedom of creativity, and instructions. And I think that's what also makes you a good manager. Information overload kills attackers. Look at what Pep done to Grealish. Yeah, the pepification of football is real. The pepification of football is absolutely real. Mina, our biggest issue is we play a system where we rely a lot on the wingers, but our wingers hardly contribute for assist goals. We really need to shift to a system that emphasizes on midfield. Do you guys actually think we rely a lot on our wingers? Do you guys think that? Because sometimes I feel like Man United are a bit one-dimensional in the game, where they're just going central a lot. And then sometimes I feel like Man United are a bit like relying on their wingers a bit too much. Now, I actually think the biggest issue with Marcus Rashford this season, right, is Diogo Dalot on the left-hand side. And that's not me saying Diogo Dalot is a bad player. I think Diogo Dalot is probably technically one of Man United's best players, right? But the way that he plays on the left is very different to the way that he plays on the right. When we saw him on the right, he would overlap often, right? Now, he doesn't overlap as much. And I feel like, as a result, Marcus Rashford, his width in the game is so like he's literally hugging the touchline. At one point, he's probably going to be in the advertisement boards. He's going to be in the advertisement boards. That's how far out he is. And as a result, when he's doing that, to get away from his man, he's dropping back and back and back more. And so his starting position is always a lot further down than what traditionally he would like it to be as a left-sided forward, or whatever you want to call him, a left winger, whatever you want to call him. And I think, yeah, that's manager instruction. I think that is a tactical decision because, and I'm saying that because when Manchester United beat Southampton, look at the spaces that he was occupying a lot. He was playing a lot more confidently. He was going left to the right. He was playing on the right-hand side. And even when he was on the right, when he scored that first goal, he was not hugging the touchline. He was a lot more of an inside forward, where he was in that half space between the 10 and the wide man. And I think when he plays on the left and when he does play a lot like a very he's hugging he's very wide, it kind of takes him out of the game. I really feel like it takes him out of the game. I think Eric's new system of inverting fullbacks means the wingers work harder because the fullbacks are not overlapping. They're going central. This is basically it. OJ kind of put it in a nutshell. And I guess it's because I think it's to stop this 1-6, this lone midfielder. Is to stop the lone midfielder by himself. We've seen Dallo kind of invert into support Kobe or support whoever's the sixth. We've seen Mazraoui. Just play two midfielders. If you just played two midfielders and you didn't leave a man alone in that midfield every time, you could have your fullbacks do what they should do, which is provide overlap and provide support to the left-hand side. Now, if you're a player who can play by themselves out wide, I think that's okay. I don't think you will struggle that much. But if you don't and you need somebody to kind of take the extra man away from you, you're not going to do anything in the game, and you're going to kind of be a null factor. But big up to everyone. Listen, let's get some more likes. Let's try hit 250 hopefully at the least during the live stream. If you want to join the members club, you can. It's in the bio of this video. You get your badges, you get your emojis, you get your custom member content, and of course you get to support the growth of the channel. It's the road to 10k, trying to get there hopefully by the end of the year, maybe. I am nominated for a football content award, so if you want to vote, you can. It's the pinned comment in the chat. If you go there and you click best new content creator category, you'll see my name, Minute Ibrahim. Make sure you vote for me, and you can vote multiple times. Voting closes I think 13th of October, so in a couple of weeks. So I would greatly appreciate that. And if you want to support the channel in alternative ways, you can by sending in super chats with your comments, with your questions, with your thoughts, or to just show some love to the channel. And if you want to do something simple, something easy, all you have to do is just hit the like button. Mazraoui is underrated defensively. I don't think he's underrated because I rate him. Who is it that doesn't rate him? By the way, guys, we had this whole debate again on some video that I did with Sky, and I tried to fit Mazraoui in as like one of the better right backs in football right now. Yeah, people weren't happy about that. People weren't happy about that. But I actually will go on to say that Mazraoui is going to go like, despite the fact we brought we brought Ugarte, for value for money, when we're talking about purely value for money, and what he's come in to do, people were sad about losing Aaron Wan-Bissaka. People were sad about losing Aaron Wan-Bissaka and were kind of writing off Mazraoui before he even came to United because he was coming to replace Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Just look at his gameplay from a technical level when it comes on the ball. When he's on the ball, he's so good. Like sometimes I don't feel like he's a fullback. Sometimes I don't feel like he's a fullback on the ball. Our forwards are overrated, all of them. They're not productive and don't show up consistently. Let's actually talk about that, guys. Manchester United have not cracked the 60-goal mark in the Premier League under Eric Ten Hag yet. 2 seasons in a row under 60. I think 58 was the first one, or 59, and then 54. Man United can't score goals. Man United cannot score goals. Whether it's in Europa, Carabao, wherever it is. Carabao they can. Actually, they scored 7. That would inflate Eric Ten Hag's numbers for the season. In the Premier League, how many goals United scored? 1 against Fulham. 1 against Brighton. 3 against Southampton. 5 goals in how many games? I don't even know how many games United have played this. How many games we've played? 5. Okay, 5 and 5. It's about to be 6 tomorrow. Let's put it into perspective. Let's see who's got the most goals in the Premier League. I mean, Cole Palmer scored 4 today, and Manchester United got 5. So that says a lot. All right. 4 people in the Premier League right now have more goals than Manchester United. Erling Haaland got 10, but to be honest, he's got more than quite a lot of teams. Cole Palmer got 6 goals. And Mbeumo got 5. I know he scored today in like 37 seconds or something. Luis Diaz got 5. United have 5. Do you know how outrageous that sounds? And that's why I don't understand when we're going into games, especially in the Premier League, and we're doing like preview videos, etc. Where do people think the goals are coming from? Bruno Fernandes is struggling. He's got 17% of his shots on target. Joshua Zirkzee found the back of the net on his debut and since then hasn't. Marcus Rashford got 2 goals in the league, I think it is. Has he got 2? No, he's got 1. He's got 1 goal. Garnacho, few goals. Ahmad, 1 goal, I think he got against Brighton. Man United are really, really struggling to score goals. And I think it might progressively get worse the more United struggle in games. And this is where I'm a bit, I don't know, maybe I might be different to you guys. I'm a bit more lenient on Erik ten Hag because we saw games like Crystal Palace where United just could not put the ball in the back of the net. They were doing everything right. But so I put that on the players. But equally, I think, is it the system? Is it the system, guys, that is making Manchester United like this or not? Our forwards during Ole era, Cavani, Igalo, Greenwood, Rashford, Martial. Our midfield had goals with Pogba. Listen, I'm not gonna lie, guys. United did Cavani wrong. I watched a video the other day that was just like a comp of like his performances for United and the goals that he's scored the year before Cristiano Ronaldo joined. United did Cavani dirty. Yes, he might have been injured a couple of games. He might have missed a couple of games. But that is what you call a man with a striker's instinct. United could have done with someone like him now, in my opinion. They could have done with someone like him. And that's why I feel like I understand United brought Højlund with the expectation that he becomes a good player. Joshua Zirkzee, I understand that he's a different type of profile of a striker. But I said this in the summer, United not signing a striker, a proper number 9 that gets goals, puts the ball in the back of the net, it's going to bite them. I saw people saying United are going to score 70 to 80 goals in the league. Can you believe that, guys? I remember before the season started, I think Saeed said it. I think Saeed said United have to score up to 70 to 80 goals. But for me, that was outrageous because I thought United have not even cracked the 60 mark under Erik ten Hag. So suddenly United is going to jump straight from 58 or 54 straight up to 70 or 80 goals. But that is also with the expectation of, Rashford getting 15, 20 goals, Højlund getting another maybe 10 to 15, Zirkzee, Ahmad, Garnacho, etc., etc. But I think, I don't know, man. I feel like after tomorrow, depending on the result, I think the pressure could be on. Like, the pressure could be turned up on maximum. Because if United, it's not even just if United lose, but it's also the manner in which they lose. Like, I feel like losing to Spurs, is like nobody wants to lose. No one wants to lose. But if Spurs come to Old Trafford and do what they did, what Liverpool did against United, or what FC20 did, or the pressure is gonna be real because that means United have literally had a stinky September. Stinky September should be the name of the month. I don't want to see anyone getting a player of the month award at all. We got Porto midweek. We've got Villa, I think. Then we got Fenerbahce. It's international break, and then they got Fenerbahce. They got Brentford somewhere in there. West Ham somewhere in there. And then a game against Chelsea, I think, is on like the 3rd of November. Like, October is a serious serious month, for Manchester United. But quickly before we wrap it up, guys, predictions. Let's do predictions because I love predictions. Anthony could go as that halftime during a game and no one would know. That's a bit mean. Come on. That is a bit mean. You didn't have to say that. I don't know what I don't think I can actually give a prediction for the game because Man United games are just so difficult to predict under Erik ten Hag. Like, especially in the last 12 months, it's just so difficult to predict. We are blessed with too many midfielders this season. Even Ahmad can play in midfield. 4-man midfield would suit our system much better than the current system we play. All of you lot saying 2-2. I cannot believe 3 people in a row has said 2-2. Show has said 2-2. Adam saying 3-0 Spurs. Nah, don't do that, Adam. Don't do that. You guys will fluke it. You think it's going to be a fluky win, like a smash and grab? It's going to be a fluky winner. That's what you're saying? I don't know. Let's try predict the lineup. Should we do lineup first? Goal, Anana. I think the back line is kind of solid. I think it's going to be Mazraoui, De Ligt, Licha, left side Dallo. I wonder if Erik Ten Hag plays Ugarte in his first kind of serious start in the Premier League. I wonder if he starts him. I know Kobe will start. It could be possible. We also can't write off the idea of a Kobe Eriksson midfield. We actually cannot write that off. It could be possible. But I'm gonna go with Kobe Ugarte. I'm gonna go with Kobe and Ugarte in the middle. And this is, by the way, my predicted lineup. It's not what I want. It's my predicted lineup. What I think Erik Ten Hag will do. So I think it will be. I think Bruno will start in the 10, and I think it might be Garnacho on the right. You know, although I feel like Udogie versus Ahmad would be a very good matchup to watch, but I think it'll be Garnacho on the right. I think it'll be Rashford on the left, and I think Erik Ten Hag will drop Joshua Zirkzee, and it will be Rasmus Højlund. That's what I think Erik Ten Hag will go with, because United are dying for goals, and Zirkzee's not getting them. It doesn't matter anything that Zirkzee does, guys, outside of scoring goals. If he's not scoring goals and the pressure's on, and kind of, you know, Man United need goals, I think Erik Ten Hag is going to go with Rasmus Højlund, who, by the way, didn't get his first Premier League goal until December last year. Ahmad is definitely getting dropped. Yeah, I think Ahmad will get. I don't think he should, by the way. I don't think he should, but just like Erik Ten Hag went with Garnacho on the right against Liverpool, I think he's going to do the same again. I think he's going to go for pace in behind. You guys better expect, yeah, long ball galore from Onana. If they don't press Onana's going to be spamming them kind of diagonal balls to the wingers. Especially if Ange doesn't abandon his playing style and they go for that high line. For me, that is going to be cash money. That's what United is going to do. I actually think United are going to let, and I also think it's going to be a game. Can we just predict the game, guys? How's the game going to go? I think it's going to be the kind of game. It's going to be a basketballification. I almost couldn't say it, but it's going to be a basketball-esque game. I think it's going to be an up and down game. I think neither team are going to have dominance or control of possession. And I just think it's going to be a lot of chances. A lot of chances are going to be on goal. I'm more confident with Manchester United's defense in comparison to maybe last season. I feel like that I have a lot more confidence now that we've got Mazraoui, we've got De Ligt. Obviously, Dallo is in the form that he's in. So I'm a bit more confident. But it will be an interesting battle between Solanke and De Ligt. And that's what I think De Ligt and Licha will have their hands for, because Solanke can make runs in behind, but he can also, you know, he can battle once or twice physically in a duel in the air, etc. So I think De Ligt will have his hands full. I did say between De Ligt and Mateta, that De Ligt had to come out on top, which I think he did, because Mateta got hooked at halftime. And I think it'll be the same against Solanke. It'll be very interesting to see, though, if Son starts. Because who starts in the middle for Spurs? Is Bissouma, Bentancur, Kulusevski, I think, has been playing like Maddison. Maddison has even been playing in this new role under Ange, where he's playing as this left-sided midfielder. He's playing less in the 10 and more so on the left side of a three-man midfield. So it'll be interesting. Spurs will dominate 65% possession and will play on the counter-attack. Are you guys happy with counter-attack football? I thought Man United wanted to move away from that kind of counter-attacking football and actually have a philosophy and a style that's evident. I don't know. The idea of counter-attacking football, I don't like that. I want United to have a style of football. I think that's my preference anyways. Definitely that is my preference. But big up to everyone listening, guys. Did we get to 200 likes? We did. We got to 200 likes. We surpassed it. Be sure to hit the like button And be sure to subscribe. Tomorrow, what are we doing tomorrow on stream? I need to try and remember. We have a Man United women's watch along, 1:45, but the game kicks off at 2 against Everton. So make sure you guys come through. I'll be live on Twitch in about half an hour or so. Let me drop my Twitch link in the chat. I had a blast at the FC25 launch. If you lot cannot see it there, but I had a blast at the FC25 launch. So I'll be live with FC25. We got Make Man United Great Again coming on the channel as well this week. I might actually do it tonight as well. What are you saying about Chelsea women? Yeah, stupid, man. 7-0 yesterday. Ridiculous. Even Chelsea women in one game got more goals than United have all season so far. That's crazy. That is crazy. But make sure you lot come over to my Twitch. Make sure you follow me there. Big up to everyone. What's FC25? Yeah, it's the new FIFA. Sorry, yeah, FC25 is the new FIFA. They've rebranded and it's FC25. But like I said, I'll be live tomorrow, as you guys can expect. I'm in a state of mind straight after the game, so it'll be about 6:30, I think, around 6:30 straight after the game. But we'll be chopping it up about the game. 5 in 5 will also drop after the game as well, where we talk about Manchester United, 5 things in 5 minutes after the Spurs game. Man United women's watch along at 2 p.m. tomorrow before the men's game. So if you don't want to watch real football before the game, come through. You can also watch the game on YouTube as well for free. So it's a nice little cheeky session. And like I said, I'll be live on Twitch in about half an hour or so. So make sure you guys come over there. But hit the like button on your way out, guys. I hope you have a great night. Big up to Rants with the Raid. And big up Saeed, man. Hope you lot have a good one, whatever you lot get up to for the rest of the evening, guys. Hit the like button on your way out. I'm out. Peace.